Welcome to Reality After Show coverage of the challenge Ride or Dies. We're talking episode 12, Frenemy of the State. I'm Jonny Fairplay. That's Alex Trias. Also, Joker Kinney, Dan Montchal.
Yeah.
All right, this is a fun episode. Some people don't like losing, and some people really don't like losing.
Yeah.
I am for it.
I'm also for not negotiating with terrorists, as we learned this episode.
I mean, if you're gonna bring an outside the game friendship and hold it hostage, then there's only one word to describe you, and that is terrorist.
It's just like also just like throughout the whole episode of what Jordan's story is, starting with I'm doing all this humanitarian effort for a war in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Cut to I don't negotiate with terrorists. I'm putting your old smash buddy in.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's the Middle East. I think it's the Ukraine.
Well, Ukraine. I felt like he didn't say it at first. He's like, "Oh, there's a war out east."
Yes.
And like
very east, if you're looking at a map.
I guess depending on perspective, it could be west, but that's a weird map you're looking at.
Yes. So yeah. But who has that map? All right. So
I feel like Nelson.
Potentially.
Nelson doesn't have a map.
No, it's upside down.
He's working on his brain for next challenge.
Yeah, his mental.
Yeah, mentals. All right, so we're back in the house. Everyone's congratulating Amber on a big win, but we have Devin throughout the episode in his Mark Henry salmon sport coat.
I'm glad you noticed that.
I was waiting for him to turn on John Cena after his retirement, but not so much.
He's waiting. Yeah,
I think it's still coming. He's going to leave the jacket. Because the salmon jacket represents his life in the game. And so we also learn at this point, Nelly informs us that it's now going to be hard for him. And I was just like, ooh, is this a Nelly boot episode?
Yeah. It was weird because I felt like immediately you were like, oh, Nelson or Fessy or Fessel is going tonight.
Yeah.
But you knew the entire episode they're going into elimination together.
Yeah. So, and Chauncey is excited. He got to see Amber win a physical elimination. And we know what Amber brings to the table. So,
yeah, she's and more.
And more.
But so, you know what? I'm liking Chauncey now. He was invisible at the beginning of the season.
Yes.
I think he's ingratiating himself more with the audience.
He is. And he thinks he's on the chopping block if his team loses. And I'm just like, oh, you must be watching a different show than us.
I guess he wasn't watching Devin scribble and doodle on a piece of paper.
Oh, we'll get there.
I know. I think Chauncey's just someone that as the numbers dwindle, so we're under half, you can start to give him screen time. But when you have such large numbers, he's not just someone who pops. So
no, he's a good secondary character. He never will be or needs to be a lead.
No.
But like if your options are him, Nam, or Kenny, come on, Joker Kenny, who you
we're picking? Going Kenny every single time. No, it's obviously Chauncey.
He is the most gentle, respected player in the history of the challenge.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
Nani said so.
Yeah. So I think Nani did. Okay. But Nani also says that Bananas has lived up to her expectations.
I would hope so.
I was just like, wait, yeah. Like I didn't understand that exchange. I was just like Bananas, you got her there, and then they changed the game, and you are using your connections. She's using hers. I think you're all fine.
I haven't forgot that she was a person like Fessy and Mariah have, like
yes. Oh, Oh, so it's time for video chats from home, and Nelly chooses Corey for his video chat, and Corey is the best. He was just like, "Hey, you're still there." So it's real simple. Take out Bananas and Fessel.
I also love that
you ain't beating either one of them. Just in case you're wondering.
I also love Corey, a veteran and like a former staple of the challenge. His little like lower third was Nelson's friend.
Nelson's friend.
That's all they gave him was Nelson's friend.
I think the people that wrote BMX Legend at the bottom of TJ's was in for the day to fill in Corey's lower third.
But it's interesting because like the advice that Corey's giving him is like, oh, bravo, great advice. When did Corey do that on the last few seasons he was on? He was playing the same exact way that Nelson's playing right now.
Well, he's learned. He's been working on his mental for when he comes back.
I don't think that's what he was working on.
he looks a little swole, don't he?
Look a little swole, had another kid.
Yeah.
Got in a fight, or like I still don't know what happened in that DAZN fight or whatever.
Well, it was on DAZN.
But this season was made for him.
It was. Back into DAZN?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this is my home away from home, brother.
But I will say, I would love, if that's how he's going to behave, if he's on the show, I want him back. I want him back next season. Put him and Fessel on the same season. I want to see the fireworks.
I do too. Jordan talks. He has a video chat with his friend Sasha, according to the lower third, who's in the Ukraine. And Jordan explains that he was there for 2 months prior to the challenge. They shipped in over 75 tons of supplies and helped over 300 people escape.
It's like, honestly, the best characters on these shows are enigmas, where it's like you don't know how you're supposed to look at these people. And they're obviously trying to rehab Jordan, but at the same time, they're showing a lot of Jordan's flaws. And you're just like, oh, he's doing such a great job here. He's doing such a great thing.
He's doing God's
humanity. Right. He's doing something that a lot of people say they would do. And they do the hopes and prayers, but he's actually out there doing it. I also know that I think like Bananas joined him for a couple weeks doing it as well. Yeah. But so like congrats on them actually going out there, going to the front lines, helping people. But then you get to the end of the episode where he's like, I'm such a bad social player where I'm being slightly like led in a direction that I don't want to go. So I'm going to call her a terrorist. And
if you really analyze his verbiage at the end of this video chat and the confessional that follows, he says, he really needs this money to do good stuff. This money will help him do good stuff. Now, if you analyze it and break it down word for word, because, sometimes you're on the same page, but you're not always on the same word.
You're not on the same word.
Looking at these words, it's not as though Jordan is saying, I need this money to donate this money. No. He needs this money so he doesn't have to work a regular job so he can continue to do these things, but keep that money.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing
very important, because a lot of people could be like, "Oh my God, if he wins, he's gonna give the money to the Ukraine." I'm like, I don't think he is.
He didn't pull a certain heavy metal enthusiast on Survivor who straight up says, I'm going to give this money to X.
Yes, he is not. He is using that money to sustain his life and his excursions in life.
This money,
not give away the money to those excursions.
This money will do a lot of good.
Yes,
to me.
Yes,
that's just like in that little like in between the like the lines of the page. You have those little two things. You think it's just a dot, but you look closer. It says to me.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm for that. I mean, So Olivia explains to the viewers at home she sees that Fessy or Fessel does not 100% potentially have her back, and Fessel doesn't see that. He sees that he does have Olivia's back when it's convenient to him, and so what's the difference?
It's also the wording again. Like this episode's about wording, and the specific word that he uses is, I would hope that she's grateful.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is why I love Fessel. I love, like, he constantly puts himself in a victim position, despite what he says on social media, where he says, "I'm never a victim."
Yes.
He always puts himself as like, "I'm the big giant, but I'm the person you should be rooting for. I'm sympathetic because I'm an asshole to people, but I expect them to be good to me in return."
Yes.
And it's like I see these, and somehow
I support you, Fessy. Yeah. That's how I go through my life as well.
Yeah. But it's like somehow I see Fessy defenders from this episode on Twitter saying how Mariah's 100% in the wrong for not helping him like tie the boat or whatever. But I'm like, and it's like, oh, it's just Bananas working her. I'm like, he allowed Bananas to work her based off how he is treating her.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
So you gonna throw for me?
Yeah.
So Johnny would.
Sure.
You've done it.
Yeah. So General Devon is here to pump up the troops. And for those of you wondering at home, they're dogs.
But no, they're all dogs.
Yeah.
But he's an effing dog.
Yes. And we later learn that they are actually the underdogs, and this is just an abbreviation.
I was wondering if they were actually going to do underdog, or like they would spell dog because of how they were saying like DAWGZ.
That's how I wrote it in my notes.
That's how I was thinking they were saying it. Yeah, but I think once again, someone on production did not get the memo. And no, it's just regular underdog.
Yeah, lower third. We have a problem with the lower third on the challenge.
Yeah. They need to do better.
Yeah, do better. So going into this daily, we have Jim Jones, We Fly High. And just to show everyone how cool I am, I have never heard of Jim Jones, and I'm not going to seek him out.
I've heard the song. Never knew who sang it.
It's Jim Jones.
Well, good to know.
Yeah. So
I'm not going to look it up to confirm.
I'm willing to bet Jim Jones isn't Jim Jones's name. And Jim Jones, you have chosen the most lackluster name in the history of music. I mean, if you're going to choose a name, I mean, like, I have 5,000 records behind me, and I have a lot of 90s hip hop of artists I have never heard of ever in my entire life. And I'm just like, wow, what a clever name that is so horrifically misspelled that, no one could ever do a search for it on eBay. So it doesn't matter. But
no, yeah, you want a name that sticks out. Like, for like in football, I went to Penn State. We just had someone transfer from UNC over to Penn State. And I thought it was a fake post because they said the person that was transferring over, his name is Storm Duck.
Oh.
I'm like, hey, stands out.
Strong
name. You're going to get drafted.
Yeah.
Just so that you could get play on Sunday night, and when they put you up, Storm Duck.
Do you guys remember Tyrod Taylor?
Mm-hmm.
So his entire Virginia Tech career as a quarterback, he was Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
And then he went to the NFL and he was Tyrod Taylor. Mm-hmm. And then his second or third season, like I think probably his third, when he ended up
starting. Yeah.
Well, no, even after he ended up traded to the Chargers. Yeah. Someone said, Tyrod, he goes, well, it's actually Tyrod. And they're like, oh, wow. Like, I've thought your entire career. He goes, yeah, someone said that like when I first started at Virginia Tech, and I never corrected them.
You know what? That's relatable. That's relatable.
like this dude went 6 years with the entire world calling him by the wrong name, and he's just a nice guy. He's just like, yeah, I guess it's Tyrod. And it's just like, no, my name's Tyrod. What are you doing?
No, I get it though, because like when you have a name that's like easy to mispronounce, like almost everybody mispronounces my last name, and I just don't feel like correcting them. I'm like, especially if it's close, I'm like, what's the point? It's like Tyrod and Tyrod. It's close. I'm not gonna argue about it. One day I like half-handedly like said it to one of my friends, like, oh, it's actually this. Everybody stops what they're doing. They all just stare at me for a second. I'm like, what? You've been letting us call you the wrong name this whole time.
You've been lying to us, essentially.
It's like for years.
You're a liar. You're a long-term liar.
Well, I'm on this podcast, so.
Well, I mean, you're no joker. But...
No, I'm no joker, Kenny, for sure.
So yes, it's this elimination is called Chopper Drop. Alex, Trias, what exactly
No, that's right. That's right.
is the Chopper Drop?
Yeah, so you have 6 people that are going to be picked up from a platform by a helicopter where you're just hanging on a bar. You're going to be hovering over a couple like drop zone areas that can get you points, but only 2 people can drop in each specific one. From there, you swim to a platform, and fastest time, if you have the same amount of points, is the winner. We all know, though, it doesn't matter what the time is because they will always tell you by a separation of 2 seconds.
Yes, it does.
And we all saw how Anissa and Casey and Tori and Olivia swam.
Yes.
Especially Anissa and Casey. Casey has an excuse. She swam the furthest.
Yeah.
Anissa immediately goes to back float.
Yes. Well, and Horacio, who is the voice of the viewer, and not championing this narrative that is so much a lie, it's ridiculous. Horacio is just like, yeah, there's no way this thing is close. Yeah. Like, did you guys watch this thing? And we're like, yeah, we all saw it. And Tori, who is Team MTV and the edit. Oh yeah, it was definitely 2 seconds, maybe even a second and a half. They're rounding up.
Yeah, it's so funny because there is a picture on Twitter of like the reaction as TJ says it's by 2 seconds, and they show Team Underdog, and yeah, Horacio. And everyone's just like, you can tell for a moment he truly believes that it was only by 2 seconds, and he's just like incredulous about it. Then you look over at Jordan Devin, like, which way are they rigging it?
Yeah,
because I have thoughts on team. So like we see they say that all the people hit the zones.
Yeah.
However, I feel, and Bananas also has brought this up. After I like watched the episode, I was going through Twitter to see people's reactions, and Bananas shows like you see very clearly how everybody hits into the zone except for when Jordan and Horacio jump into the small zone. They do that WWE thing where right before they're like halfway down, cut. And then they cut again, but it was the bad cut because the cut shows one of the splashes was physically outside of the target.
Well, I love the fact that we have the helicopter camera for every single drop. With the exception of the pink drop, we cannot use the camera shot. We use Dan was here yesterday, and if you're on the other side of the pool table behind me, crouched down behind, that's the camera they used for that drop, but no other.
Yeah.
Jordan hit 2 feet left.
Right. And like then they tell everyone to go into the confessional, be like, well, obviously everyone hit the target, so now it's all about speed. And that's where my other issue with this is. I think this should have been more Survivor, where the group of 8 didn't have the 2 extra swimmers.
Yeah.
Because just naturally, even if they're great swimmers, it's like, that's added time. That's added time regardless of how fast they are, because that's 2 extra people.
Yeah. So you should have had to choose 2 people to sit out.
Right. Yeah. You pick one girl and one guy, and they're forced to sit out. Then each team has 3 guys, 3 girls going.
Boom. That's it. So yeah. But I'm glad they didn't do it that way, because this is the outcome that we all wanted, viewers.
And I think this is the outcome they wanted, because I think there's no fun in having 3 people available instead of 4 defeats the purpose of the mechanic that they have for the zone.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm gonna just say that I'm pretty sure the Festivals group is gonna lose again next week. So then both teams are evened up.
Yep.
Well, not only that, but if you're going to keep doing these team challenges and have that green team, whatever color they are, with 2 guys while it's going up against that other stacked team, they don't have a shot in really any challenge. And I'd imagine that it would screw up a lot of the challenges they have planned if it's 2v4 just on that side.
Well, yeah, like you look at this challenge, and I guess just because of how the current was going, the guys just had such an extreme advantage in the water over the girls. Even if the girls were good swimmers, it looked like the waters were more rough for them and their like body types to go forward.
So, well, it's chop or chop. It's going to be a men's elimination, and we see Fessy and Bananas talking in the water, and Fessy says, "Should we go back and save the girls?" And Bananas says, "Nope."
Which gets you thinking. Because he was talking about the ideas of throwing to like protect Nany, but like this is a moment where I'm sort of thinking, is he trying to sabotage there by telling Fessy to not help and him not helping?
I think he is. I think he wants Fessy out.
Right. Like, I think he wants Fessy out. And I also believe
because right now they have the numbers for Fessy to go into eliminations and it not be against Bananas.
Yeah. And I also believe that there is some underlying truce between Bananas, Jordan, and Devin. Because even with Devin multiple times now pitching the idea of throwing Bananas in,
he doesn't really.
He has never executed on it. I feel like that's more just TV bluster to have it out there so that people can't be like, oh, why aren't you going after the 7-time champion? Yeah. Well, it's because they all have a deal to send all 3 of their duos to the final.
Yeah, and not only like viewer bluster, it's also like it's teammate bluster. Like, you know, if Devin says it and then doesn't act on it, it's just like, well, I heard him say it. And it was like, ooh, I'm glad you caught that because I didn't mean that, but you caught what I was throwing.
Yeah. But because they didn't help, as Nelson put it, they are going to have to face the consequences.
Yes.
I see, I'm gonna miss Nelson and all the times he mispronounces a word.
Yes. So but Fessy does save Olivia. So for those
he does.
Yes.
And now this will be the last thing before the ad break. They then have her and Anissa hype up how Fessy is a good teammate. I'm like, he's not a good teammate.
Yeah.
He's just so desperate to constantly win. Yes. That he will if he's allowed to physically push you and it'll be deemed as good teamwork, he will do it.
Yeah. Oh, we also have Tori toting the company banner here when saying after she knows the results of this challenge, because this confessional is done after the fact, their morale is going to be shot. It's going to be hard for them to pull out this win. And I was just like, oh, stop it.
It felt that's how that part of the narrative heading into the challenge was so weird to me. Because they're like, obviously their morale is so low. Look at them. And every scene we had of them was them hyping each other up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, we're going to do it. Their morale is so low.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
They're walking dead. They're walking dead.
Literal zombies. They should be the under zombies.
Yeah.
With a Z and a W in there.
No, but they won't. That's not how they'll spell it.
No, they will not. This is kind of crazy for, you know, when it's time for the underdogs to do their part of this. Jordan is holding with his arm.
Yeah, like he's forced to.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, jeez. What a stud.
And like that also is part of why I feel like he missed, because you're not going to drop straight from that. Yeah. But at least he wasn't holding the bar backwards and spinning.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, I think we have to bring up Nelson.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I have here that pink target was almost impossible to film with that same camera they used for all the other targets, which is weird. Horacio and Jordan go back to help the girls, which is the difference maker. And post challenge before the results, that's what a team looks like. And I think it is what a team looks like.
Yeah, helping each other. You're not just in it for yourself. You're not just looking at how you individually perform. You're making sure everybody is doing well.
Yes. So it's 2 seconds difference, allegedly.
Sure.
And team underdog wins. And I think we can all safely say thank you to General Devin, who is the perfect coach, as he explains, because he sleeps till noon, drinks beers all day, and sits around the fire with broken unlit cigarettes.
Yep, and beating professional athletes while doing it.
I mean, that's what you do with a broken unlit cigarette.
And I know he's a Boston guy, so is he just the Bill Belichick of the challenge now?
Devin, I know you're watching. Next season, I need the sweatshirt with the sleeves cut off.
With an unlit broken cigarette.
With an unlit broken cigarette.
Yeah.
Can we make this happen? This isn't too much to ask. So, and with that, let's get a quick word from the sponsors. Support for Reality After Show is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. That's right, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SURVIVOR at manscaped.com. If my math's correct, that's about 12 million balls.
The Performance Package 4.0 has arrived, and oh man, is it a game changer. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies.
First off, the Lawnmower 4.0, this trimmer is the future of grooming, and dare I say, the greatest ball trimmer ever.
Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to help reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and has a 4000K LED spotlight that you need for a more precise shave.
Now, I have a dark shower curtain in my bathroom, and I've been looking for the perfect way to shave in the dark, kinda. Guess what? I found it. 4000K LED. No longer a problem. I got perfectly smooth, clean balls thanks to the Lawnmower 4.0.
It's time to take care of yourself, so go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the code SURVIVOR. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code SURVIVOR. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Thanks for sticking with us through the ad break. And don't forget, for more exclusive Reality After Show coverage, visit realitypatron.com. That's reality, Patron.com.
And we are back, and saw this comment in the forum while we were talking earlier, and you just heard the commercial for Manscaped, of course, promo code Survivor, but we also mentioned our Patreon, which is available at realitypatron.com. That's reality, Patron.com. And Knox Too Tall says, early morning recap with my breakfast and coffee. Love it. Excited to see you guys cover the Traders US. Traders UK was very good with all 10 episodes dropping at once. How will the coverage be? So we will be covering the Traders US. The first episode will be on the free feed that you see here, whether it be YouTube or wherever you listen, whether that be Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any of those. But after that, the coverage will be moving to the Patreon. So if you would like to continue to get coverage of the Traders US, which features Sari, I believe Stephanie LaGrossa is on there, Rachel Riley. And more. Yep. The first episode coverage will be on the free side of things, but afterwards, the continuing after show podcast will be a patron only exclusive. So, and that'll be at any price level. So go to realitypatron.com to go ahead and sign up for that now, and also. Since we're doing Traders US on the Patreon side of things, that means we're going to have Australian Survivor, heroes versus villains on the free side throughout the season. So we had to flip a coin and choose one. We chose Australian Survivor on the free side, Traders on the Patreon. So everyone asked the best way to support the podcast. It's very simple. Become a patron. Even at the $5 level, you get all of our look back at Australian Survivor seasons. We just wrapped Australian Survivor All-Stars. We had Tarzan on the finale episode. We went almost 2 hours. It was insane. Tarzan had stories that he's never told anywhere. And so give us a shot. It is the best way to support the podcast. We appreciate it. And
Yeah.
Okay. So
it's a good time to become a patron.
It is. So we're back in the house, and Fessy would hate to send Nelson home.
We finally mended our friendship. We're very good bros now.
Yes.
I honestly, it feels like a I don't know if any of you guys watched Spirited on Apple Plus. There's the new Christmas movie with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds.
No, I do have Spirit, the Netflix horse animated thing that my 5-year-old has in constant rotation throughout my my viewing day as I walk past the television and want to strangle a horse.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna give spoilers to this movie because it's just a Christmas movie.
Sure.
So near the very end of the movie, Will Ferrell and Ryan declare that they will now become bros, and very soon after that, Ryan Reynolds gets hit by a truck and dies.
Oh,
or bus.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Well, this is so we got a reenactment.
Yes, that's why I'm bringing it up. I'm like, I feel like I'm rewatching history right now.
Oh, awesome. So it's here where we see that Bananas makes a deal with Chauncey, allegedly, since Nelson and Fessel are looking out for one another. But we never actually see this deal. We just have Mariah explaining that that's the deal.
But I like this because it sort of just goes off with what we were confused about last week, where out of nowhere Amber was like, oh, I wanted to make sure Nani was safe regardless. And like, oh, we will protect each other. And Nani says that, oh, I would protect Amber. So yes. I just think that there was essentially, as soon as the pairs were split up, that both those duos came together. It's like, hey, if we're ever in a situation where we can protect the other, we will.
Yeah.
I think it was more...
We see that.
Because they don't want to show, apparently they don't want to show Bananas being like an actual game player or duplicitous. And anyway, they'll only show him doing the general, well, you should put Fessel in. He's very good. I'm just a 7-time champion, but like, I'm only good in the final.
I think it was just more of a way for Bananas to cover himself, because at this point, he probably knows Fessel's going to be the main vote. And I would think that Nelly would probably save Bananas simply just because he already threw Chauncey in. So I think it's just a way of Bananas covering himself. Now, maybe not, but I think he's safe on all sides.
I agree if he believes that Fessel will be the vote, because I think there's a world where if Fessel was in the draw and grabs it, he throws Bananas down there against Nelson.
Yeah.
I don't 100%. Think Nelson throws Bananas down there against Fessel.
No.
I think he throws Chauncey down there because Nelson's all about, well, now we became such great friends. We're great friends now.
We're veteran leaders. That's what everyone sees.
Not just veteran leaders. Apparently, even with I wanted to slap this is the first time I wanted to slap TJ across the face when he tells Chauncey, "You're in between two legends."
When did Devin jump down there?
But I'm like, oh, okay,
I meant Jordan. But in my mind,
but
and Devin's,
and in Fessel's mind, he thinks you were talking about him.
I know. He's just, I was already voted in. Like I'm not over there.
Well, we talked about this last week. You know, had Jordan not given the speech that he did and just been like, Fessy, like you're God's gift to women. Look at you. You're so damn beautiful. And I don't think Fessel would have been mad. He would have been like, yeah, I get it. You know,
I get it. I'm the best looking. You got to put me in. So let's see. Devin is ready to use and abuse power. And as a result, scribbled on a piece of paper, he has Operation Save Chauncey.
And I love there's all this scribble just for it to really just show, well, we can have Nelson versus Fessel. We can have Fessel versus Bananas. We can have Bananas versus Nelson. That's it.
Yes, but it's Operation Save Chauncey, which Amber really needs to see, and it works.
I was going to say that's the best. You know, you have the confessionals back to back where Devin's saying like, "I'm trying to build some goodwill so I can use it to screw her over later," and it just immediately cuts to Amber being like, "I am so happy," you know, and it's hook, line, and sinker.
Well, and it just shows the game player to Amber. Like Amber doesn't care really. Like he's getting points with her because he's protecting her man. That's the only thing she cares about at that moment. She's not really looking ahead. She's just like, oh, you want to protect my future husband? Sure. I love this idea.
Yeah. So Jordan explains that the team is on the same page, but maybe not the same word. And when it's time for the interrogation of Bananas, they're just like, hey, 7 rings is tough to ignore. He goes, yes, but y'all want the big dog, right? And if that's the case, ignore these 7 rings. It's just jewelry. Fessel's your guy. And how good looking is he?
Yeah, look how handsome he is. he pulled like 4 or 5 different women into his bed this season. Like, come on.
Yeah,
come
I had
on.
to drag Devin out of there because I needed someone. I needed a sleep buddy.
But Devin was succumbing to his ways. You can tell him, Devin, I was there to protect you. But I love that, like, the way that they show it to the viewers is just like that meme of for Bananas, just like the kid who'll just like look at you, put the deuce sign, and then he just vanishes from the screen. Like, that was Bananas. Like, 7 rings it's hard to ignore. Bye.
And here is Nelson's chance to save himself, potentially save his friend, potentially do anything. Hey, I ain't playing y'all's game. I ain't naming a name, even though it will save you and potentially your friend. No, but he could beat anyone, so know that. And it's just like, great. So are we all good with Nelly T? Is that that's all I heard?
That I know. I was just like, that's the part that I'm like, it makes sense from Chauncey's perspective of like, I don't need to say anything.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say anything. If you throw me in, good on you. I'll fight. Bananas, it makes sense to throw Fessel under the bus. And it also makes sense for him to say to them, oh, if I pull it, I will save Chauncey.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be with both Nelson and Fessel. And he probably did say that, but they didn't show it because, like, oh, it'll ruin the surprise of the very obvious edit that MTV does.
Yeah, right.
And
let's pound it over the head.
If you're going to throw someone under the bus there, Nelson's the perfect person because Nerys isn't there anymore. So it isn't going to piss off a ride or die on the other side.
Yep.
And we don't see anybody make that point, and we don't see anybody like making any type of belief of, well, what is happening here? We started with our ride or dies. Are we actually just finishing in these teams and we're no longer with our duo? Because if that's the case and that's what they are thinking there, then why would Fessel be mad at Mariah after he's been treating her awful and say like, oh, you have to protect your ride or die? You're not on my team.
Yeah. So it's as if someone's moved on.
Yeah, they both, and hey, we have him on the record saying his true ride or die is Casey.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So Fessel versus Nelson is the best move for the underdog team, and if that is to take place, it needs to be with Fessel as the direct vote. But excuse me, Tori is here using the outside the game friendship to influence Jordan, and we're not sure how this is going to go down, but we are quickly told.
It's very weird, and especially because another thing that came up on social media is Nelson saying like out loud that like Jordan came into the house and pretty much like declared to multiple people that one of his main objectives was making sure any way possible that Tori makes the final. And so I feel like that has to be part of what's there, because in Tori's mind, losing Fessel hurts her team's chances and makes her more exposed to potentially go in and be eliminated. So she's like, hey, remember that deal you made? Like, this will really F up my chances here. So can you not? But Jordan takes it as, you're holding our friendship hostage. And you know what? I'm just going to sever it. And it doesn't matter because we're going to take pictures together, smiling and hanging out afterwards anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So who cares? So, so the eliminator is not a banger.
It's not a banger.
So, it is, well, first, Jordan explains he does not negotiate with terrorists. And Tori, who just can't sit back and take it, says, this is not my fault. And I'm just like, well, it is.
If it wasn't your fault, you wouldn't be reacting.
Yes.
Like, and that's the thing. I feel like, and I love that about reality TV contestants. They're like, it's not my fault. I'm getting so angry and animated right now and cursing you out because I know I'm in the right. Yeah, because that's how everyone reacts to a
when
conversation
they're in the right.
when you're in the right. Not just like sitting back like, okay, say what you want.
And all you see is her getting mad at Jordan. There's nothing mentioned that, you know, her ride or die in this game. Devin also votes Fessel.
Yes. No.
Because Devin's the Bill Belichick.
Yes.
As long as he has his Tom Brady on his team, no one's gonna question it.
He does have his Tom Brady.
But the thing is, he's also his Tom Brady.
Well,
He's both.
Yes. Well, I mean,
technically, if we're talking about pooling stuff, maybe Bananas is his Tom Brady, 7-time champion. He's throwing stuff so that Belichick can get further.
Yeah. So it's time to vote, and it's 4 votes Fessel, 3 votes Nelly, and Mariah can tie it up, and if they're tied up, they could potentially go in. So that's a horrible strategy. Mariah said she would never say Fessel's name, so she doesn't. She burns a vote.
Well, I love this thing of Fessel getting a taste of his own medicine used against him. He has dropped his ride or dies, his partners like flies. He basically concussed Nani in the water a couple seasons ago. Like
Sure.
He landbats it and he's deserved, but still, like he still has a grudge against Amber for winning without him.
Yes.
It's like, so to have that happen was just so delicious. Now I want Mariah back. Like Mariah's getting also like a Chauncey, good secondary character. Does not need to be in the forefront, but she has shown that
there's
she'll
the
make
perfect shirts for confessionals,
and shows that she'll make the better TV move.
She will.
The better TV move is burning that vote.
Yes.
In classic challenge fashion, sending someone that you like, oh, I won't vote for him. But also clarifies, Fessel said, well, obviously don't vote for me.
Yeah.
You can't vote for Nelson. And you're currently smashing Bananas.
Yeah.
So
obviously,
based off your own conversation with me,
the Chauncey Byrne vote is the logical vote.
That's the only way I can.
Yeah. So it's Fessel is the direct vote. It's time for the draw. Bananas was with the first pull, does not pull safe.
On purpose.
It's
that like everyone's like, and he was on there like, see, it wasn't rigged for me. I'm like, and the first thing in my mind was, oh well, Chauncey's second. You told Chauncey which one to pull.
You told Chauncey the safe dagger, and shockingly, Chauncey pulls safe and saves Bananas.
And like we know that like somehow I forget that I think like they discuss amongst themselves who will pool. So you can convince Nelson to go last.
Oh yeah,
because we saw how bad Nelson was at making decisions. So he's gonna be like, yeah, leave it out of my hands.
Yeah, thanks guys. Good looking out.
According to Nelson, what he said is that Bananas volunteered to go first. No one else wanted to go first. And it was between Chauncey and Nelson. They picked numbers between 1 and 100, and whoever was closest got to go second.
Yeah, but Bananas knows the number. Yeah, and Bananas lied.
Wait,
Bananas
Chauncey
was the one who had the number.
Wait, Chauncey, you said 32? That's what I was thinking.
It was the exact number. What are the odds? Well, actually, they're 1 in 100.
And Nelson's just like, damn, I can't believe the consequences I'm feeling right now because
I can't believe he guessed the exact number that Bananas just said after Chauncey said it.
I was so sure he was going to pick 7.
Based on his rings that no one else talked about.
Yeah, 32. God damn, Chauncey's a wizard.
Man, he's been working on his mental before he got there.
Well, it was either that or Nelson picked first and did pick 7, and Chauncey was like 8. Perfect. Like,
Well, it's like Chauncey has all this time to think because, like, while Amber's, we know Amber's the one who's doing the work because she's flexible and so Chauncey just has time to think.
Yeah, maybe it's Chauncey pulling the dead fish move. I don't think so. I think the guy's doing damage. All right, so the eliminator is into zone is spearheaded. What's spearheaded, Alex?
Yeah, so you have 9 spears that are trapped by extremely tough drywall, apparently, and all a bunch of like a web of chains entangled within there. So you have to untangle the chains and then rip the spears out and put all 9 spears in. Very good euphemism for probably Chauncey and Amber's life outside the challenge.
Sure, or in the room.
Right?
Yeah.
No. They're in separate rooms.
I know they are.
In
the room that they used to share.
Yes,
because they're on separate teams. Obviously, they can't be in the same room.
Oh, and we did miss the point of like when Jordan. I think it's a very important thing where like Jordan talks with Devin about like why they need to put Fessy in, and he's like, it doesn't matter if you're good at eliminations. You get thrown in there enough times, you will lose eventually.
Yep.
And it doesn't happen this time, but like I think for everyone else besides Tori, like this was the right move. You throw Fessy in, you put Nelson in because like you have to split them up, and you can't let them both be in the draw.
Yeah.
Which sort of like, I wonder if that's also why Tori's upset, because now she's like, well, now people are going to be thinking that if we lose again, they're going to look at me and Anissa, and they're like, but we have to throw one of them in straight up.
That's fine.
And I'm like, please.
Yeah.
Because I'm still of the mindset that something's going to happen in case he gets fucked over.
I think she is, because we see in the preview, we see Casey crying.
It's also part of the deals. Like, I don't think Casey was involved in these trio of deals between these pairs. And her not having her ride or die there, even though her actual ride or die isn't even Fessy, it's Nani.
Yes.
It's interesting. It's interesting. And it would be interesting if we finish out this portion of like the teams with 2 duos still fully eliminated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we throw Fessy in. I love the point that Jordan makes, because like Jordan was also someone who's good at eliminations, but has lost, because you get thrown in enough, you will lose, or have Fessy dislocate your shoulder.
Yes. So, and I love that this was not a banger.
No, it was a banger in a different way. But and they're like, it's not a pole wrestle, it's not a hall brawl, but it's still something that's endurance and physical. So like, I immediately was like, Fessy's going to win this, especially when he does like the first rip and nothing happens. I'm like, he's still stronger and has more endurance.
Yeah, exactly. If he's having trouble, Nelly T's really going to have
Nelson, who's only arms and shoulders. Like, you would think, oh, that's perfect. But no, this is a full body workout. You are going to gas out.
Well, not only that, and Nelson falls behind, but the ones that are up top, Fessy's just taller, where Nelson almost has to jump to get them.
Yeah, like I'm like, that's so unfair, because I feel like I'm the Nelson in that scenario. I'm like, I'm gonna be someone who's like having to jump full force to try to like do it. I'm gonna look like I would look like Tommy next to Fessy, like just short, small, like looking pathetic, like jumping up in the air trying to smash it, where he's just like,
So Nelly T gasses out, and he's eliminated. And TJ says, "We'll definitely see you back." And I'm like, okay.
You are, but this is the correct thing. He, instead of calling him a legend this time, he says, "You are a staple," and that's fine. That is true. Yeah. He's been on for 9 seasons. He is, like, as much as some people still loathe him, I find him so entertaining as a reality TV, like, consistent presence. He could use, but I think he's also now in a situation where I feel like he should be like Kyle for different reasons. Kyle had a kid, but take a season off and then come back like the following season.
Let
yourself, if you say you want to work on your mental and your physical, it's going to take more than a handful of months for you to improve that.
There you go. So got to read books. So, the episode is over, but wait, it's not. Nelly T, you're not gonna believe this. Nurys has been waiting for you the entire time. And he's like, what? Are you kidding me? And Nurys explains that she couldn't have been here without Nelly. And I'm just like, literally, because now that he's gone, you literally cannot be there.
I do love that they still showed this us just to give us another chance to see Nurys.
Oh yeah.
And they will be back. Like, we have to thank Nelly, if for anything, for being the catalyst that finally got Nurys onto the challenge.
Yes.
Because I do think she could be a future like staple for the women's side of things.
Yeah, she's great. She's good TV. She's beautiful. So she all the everything on the checklist she brings. So, but don't worry.
I was gonna say, this does make me think though that so they brought Nurys back, that they put Kenny in a hotel somewhere and have forgotten about him for like 3 weeks. They're just like, feed him?
So just like Casey. I forgot he was here.
Yeah.
Like, he's not allowed to leave his hotel room. Did anyone bring him food? Like, who?
Well, that's the best part. They've disconnected his phone so he can't even order room service.
Now it's going to be so funny if or when Casey gets eliminated and they do this scene again and Kenny comes out and she's like, who?
Who is that? Is that
what?
Is that Joker Kenny?
Wait, no, this is just normal Kenny. No, this is Casey's brother.
It's Casey's brother. Everybody remember Casey's brother. All right, so next week we have vomiting and yelling, and that's all I really asked for in a reality television show.
And you know that Fessel Script's gonna lose because Fessel hates eating challenges.
He does. But he does love yelling.
He does love yelling, and he also loves being the main character. And it looks like he's gonna be one of the main characters again.
Yay! All is great in the world. So with that, thank you. Episode 12. Frenemy of the State.
Yeah. We did.
All right. Alex, where can everybody find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me at Trias95 or Trias, as we have discussed. Don't say it right.
Yes.
I will not correct you.
As we've learned. And Dan Montchal, where can we find you?
Just search my last name. No one can say my last name either. You search it. No one else has it. You can find it.
And don't worry, folks. We are working on getting Dan to change all of his social media handles to the real Joker Kenny.
Yes.
It's rebranding.
You know what? If we get enough people becoming patrons, we used to have the gimmick for you, Johnny, about, if we get to this amount, you'll get another tattoo. Yeah. I think if we get to it, we have to pick an amount. If we get to that point, he has to change all of his social media handles to Joker Kenny.
Boom.
Let's do it, folks.
I'll reluctantly agree to that.
Let the boy live his dream.
Yeah, we're 30 new patrons. It's Joker. You go ahead and check the availability right now, Dan.
We need this to happen before Australian Survivor starts.
Let's see if we just search.
Make this your New Year's resolution, folks.
Yep. Joker Kenny, we got it.
So on Twitter, there is the Joker Kenny,
but not Joker Kenny.
Let's just do that one. All right. Come on. We have to add some numbers to it.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll spell it the way that Devin would want it to be spelled, not how the challenge would put in.
Oh, there we go. We can easily figure this out. All right. Yeah. So and I'm at Jonny Fairplay on everything. No H in Johnny. Get your cameos at cameo.com/Jonny Fairplay. Once again, JONNY FAIRPLAY. And support the podcast wherever you listen. Click subscribe and rate it 5 stars and write a quick, this is the awesomest podcast ever review. It helps with the algorithm. We love a perfectly random and randomly perfect algorithm. And as always, the best and number one way to support the podcast is become a patron. Try it for a month. If you don't like it, I'll send your money back. Go to realitypatron.com. That's reality, patron.com. We'll have links for Australian Survivor, Heroes vs. Villains. We'll have the after show for Traders US and more. So the weekly Q&A is a lot of people's favorite podcast of the week because I don't have to take notes. It's wonderful. So with that, we will see you next week. Bye. And for more bonus content, go to realitypatron.com. That's right, become a patron now. Get additional coverage of all your favorite shows, the weekly Q&A, and you become a member of the secret, exclusive Facebook group. That's realitypatron.com.